Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the 30th episode of the M-Wire Movie Week in Review. Today we are finishing up the DC Spotlight series with the critically acclaimed 2008 Super Smash hit, The Dark Knight. This will be the end of Volume 1 for the DC Spotlight. We will come back later in the show episode airings. I think it's around episode 51 when we start Volume 2 with all of these Superman films, which includes Supergirl. I am your host, TFG and Mike, and as usual, I am joined by Steve Megatron. Hello.
Hello.
I find this very, very weird. We actually, if I can get this episode put together before later this evening, I may actually have you release this today on my birthday because we're doing the 30th episode as I have just turned 30 years old.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. What have you been up to this week?
Well, we must also remind the listeners that this is, record attempt 2. Of course, this is not attempt, this is actual.
Yeah, we're not even gonna, there was no first record attempt. Let's just put it this way, I have a new microphone, and it sounds a hell of a lot better than that piece of shit headset I used to have. Best $86 I've ever spent.
Yeah, no, I gotta do it next.
Yep, I can send you
the plunge.
I can send you the link to this microphone. I mean, it's not that bad.
I know you sent it to me already.
I mean, hell, it's overnight shipping or whatever or something like that. It's not bad for the price. It's like $69.99 plus whatever the overnight shipping is comes to it's like $20 or something for shipping, which is fine by me because hell, this thing is like super awesome. So
yes, sir.
Again, what have you been up to?
Well, I've gotten, since last week, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker.
Uh-huh.
Yes, because I'm such a, freaking animated Batman freak right now.
Cool. This is something I will bring up once we get to it in the Secret Origins podcast. Once we haven't gotten there yet because we're going to be recording episode 2 later this evening. But once we get to the Once and Future Thing Part 2, I will be bringing this up because I have actually been going back and watching Batman Beyond, the entire series, because I have it on DVD, as well as the Return of the Joker movie. I'm actually, even though I know Batman Beyond came before Justice League, I wish they would have went back and did another episode, kind of like what they did with the epilogue episode, but I wish that they would have said something about Old Man Bruce and Batman Beyond remembering the time travel in the Once and Future Thing Part 2. That would have been kind of cool.
Yeah, that would have been neat to see.
Yeah. Like I said before, as we're recording this, it is the date of my 30th birthday. I'm 3 decades old. I feel like I'm 60 years old. But anyway. Shut up, you.
I have to make fun of you. It's fun.
But the good thing is I'm getting all kinds of cool presents, so that's good. Of course, they're probably going to be a while before they freaking get here because of the freaking people that my girlfriend ordered them from, but whatever. I've never actually ordered anything from GameStop.com, but apparently they have to verify that it's you that's using your card or whatever, whereas instead of just putting the card on file and using it, it's like, oh, we actually put a placeholder on your order because we need to make sure that you're who you are, which I understand, and that's more than fine, and I'm not really trying to turn this into a headshot, but because we already recorded headshot, but I think it's kind of stupid. But anyway, I've said before, I'm going to be getting a PS3, the 60 gig backwards compatibility version, which I learned from Mike Laidman, who was the special guest host on the Nerd News this past week with myself and David Double D Dennis, that the PS3 60 gig version is also backwards compatible with PS1 games as well. So I will be getting Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 to go along with my Metal Gear Solid 4 purchase at some point. Because I didn't like 3. 3 was way too hard for me. But anyway, I digress.
That one word.
Huh?
I was joking about how you said I digress. I says, yeah, that one word.
Oh, well. At least I'm not doing diarrhea. But anyway, so we are going to get into our Dark Knight discussion after this.
Where do we begin? A year ago, these cops and lawyers wouldn't dare cross any of you. I mean, what happened?
So what are you proposing?
It's simple. Kill the Batman. Here's my card.
Bruce, this is Harvey Dent.
Rachel's told me everything about you.
I certainly hope not. You once told me that we'd be together. Did you mean it?
Bruce, don't make me your only hope for a normal life.
You're Alfred, right?
That's right, sir.
Any psychotic ex-boyfriends I should be aware of?
Oh, you have no idea.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're tonight's entertainment. Well, hello, beautiful. You look nervous.
I've seen now what it would have to become to stop men like him.
The night is darkest just before the dawn. I promise you, the dawn is coming.
And here we go. This city deserves a better class of criminal. I'm gonna give it to him. No! You'll see. I'll show you.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Will you be wanting the back putt, sir?
Middle of the day, Alfred? Not very subtle.
The Lamborghini, then.
Much more subtle.
And here we go.
Hello, and this is Movie Week in Review. This week we are closing out the DC Spotlight Volume 1 with The Dark Knight, which is 2008 superhero film directed and co-written by Christopher Nolan, based on the DC Comics character Batman. The film is part of Nolan's Batman film series and a sequel to 2005's Batman Begins. Christian Bale reprises the lead role. The film follows Bruce Wayne, Batman, District Attorney Harvey Dent / Two-Face, played by Aaron Eckhart, Assistant DA Rachel Dawes, replaced by Maggie Gyllenhaal. The original was Katie Holmes, which I think Gyllenhaal is a big improvement. And Police Commissioner James Gordon, played by Gary Oldman, and their struggles in the journey combating new and rising threat of criminal who goes by the name The Joker, played by Heath Ledger. Want to also mention to everybody this episode is dedicated to the memory of Heath Ledger. Unfortunately, he passed away very young, 28 years old. I believe it was February 22nd, 2008. I think that was the date of his death. I don't know. I don't have it pulled up here.
Somewhere around that.
Yeah. Did you see this in theaters?
No, I did not see it in theater.
I did twice, I think. This movie was so great. I like this one a hell of a lot better than Batman Begins.
Fun this time around.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of even make mention at the end of Batman Begins. Gordon says to Batman, "Oh, we got this clown-like criminal running around the city that we will be busy with." So I like how Nolan has tied Begins and Dark Knight together with some sort of continuity.
Yeah, that was kind of nice to see, unlike the previous batch of Batman movies where they just kind of clusterfucked everything together.
Well, they did reference Batman Forever, Chase Meridian did reference Catwoman with, the line, or do I need skin-tight vinyl and a whip? But that's pretty much the only reference between any of those original Bat films from the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, but they still weren't totally... I mean, they were connected, but they weren't. I mean, it was kind of... You get it kind of a weird... I don't know, setup from those movies compared to these. These seem more cohesive and well thought out.
Well, that's because these are set in more of the real world time, whereas the original films were meant to be comic book type movies. Which I still think that, I would say that Batman 89 and Returns are each other's original and sequel, and Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are each other's original and sequel. Because, like you said, there really isn't that many things to tie all four films together.
No.
And the constant actor change pissed me off, too.
Yeah.
It's like they turned Batman into James Bond. Now, don't get me wrong, I love James Bond movies, and I understand that, and I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but I understand that they have to, do a different Bond or whatever after so many years, after contracts go up or whatever, or they want to go in a different direction, but you don't turn Batman into James Bond. You don't have 6 different people playing Batman, you just don't.
No. But anyways, back to this movie, this one is actually my favorite out of all the Batman movies out so far of live action.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. This movie was just awesome. What did you think of how it actually started? Because we don't actually get outside of, say you saw this in theaters. You go to get the ticket. The ticket says Dark Knight or whatever its, little label printing on the ticket says. You go into the theater, you watch the previews and all the fucking commercials, which that's a whole other headshot that we could do, because I hate advertisements in movie theaters. But anyway, the movie starts off, we see the Chicago skyline, which is supposed to be Gotham. You don't actually see a title. You won't see the title of the film until the very end of the film, after it ends right before the credits. So, what did you think of the way that they opened this film?
Very different from the last one, and they kind of started it off on fast pace. I was kind of surprised to see the Scarecrow back so soon.
Yeah, but he wasn't really
He was a quick, shot. It wasn't really a main feature.
Yeah, and you really couldn't make him a main... It goes back to the fact that comic book movies nowadays should not have... I like different aspects of Spider-Man 3, but Spider-Man 3 on a whole sucked ass. Mainly because of the fact that there was 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or however many villains Spider-Man 3 had. 2 villains is pushing it. 3 villains is just, you're going off the fucking edge. But in this one you have the Joker, the Mob, and Two-Face. The Mob really doesn't have... The Mob is pretty much in with the Joker. So you don't really count... I mean, you really could count the Mob, but you really don't have to.
Yeah.
And the Two-Face thing, that doesn't come up really until almost the very end of the film.
So you really only had one main villain through the whole movie.
Yeah. So, basically, we have the, we get introduced to the Joker, who is played by Heath Ledger, who, I think is probably the best role he ever did. This is also the last full completed project he did. There was another film after this. I don't remember what the title of it was. He started doing work on it, but they would eventually have to replace him with somebody else. I don't know what that film was. I can't think of it for the life of me what it is. But if you had told me 3.5, 4 years ago that Heath Ledger was going to play the Joker, I'd have looked at you cross-eyed.
I would have laughed.
Well, I wouldn't have laughed. I mean...
Like the Joker.
Well, you can't pull that off.
I wish.
You cannot pull that off. You are not Mark Hamill.
No, I wish I could do that voice, though.
Yes. I mainly knew Heath Ledger from his very first Hollywood Americanized film, which is a teen comedy based on the Shakespeare Taming of the Shrew. It's an updated version of Taming of the Shrew called 10 Things I Hate About You. And then I saw him in The Patriot with Mel Gibson. And then I saw him in A Knight's Tale. And he'd been in a couple other things like Brokeback Mountain and whatever else. He started doing more like, I don't know if he started doing more theater or more independent films, but after Brokeback Mountain, you really didn't see a whole lot of him in the mainstream until you got the news for this. And it was like, oh my God.
No kidding.
Yeah. Because he pulled this off just with flying colors, I think.
I don't think anybody else could have pulled it off as good.
No. He pulls off the creepy. He pulls off just the overall look of the Joker, the attitude of the Joker. I mean, this is pretty much the serial killer version of the Joker. And I am so glad. I understand in Batman 89 they had to give that Joker an alias or nickname or whatever, Jack Napier. As far as my understanding is, and people can write in or send us voicemails and let us know. As far as my knowledge of the Joker goes, they often change his origin, but his original origin, he was never to have a real name or anything like that, and they don't do that in this. They pretty much say, he has no other aliases, his clothes are all custom made, he has nothing but knives in his pockets, and I think it was a really great portrayal of the Joker.
Well, they for once gave him an original, just totally different standing that nobody knows who the hell this guy is, because every mark of identification that he would have,
he doesn't have.
Doesn't even lead to him. He doesn't have any identification. There's no fingerprints. There's no, defining face or, he's totally screwed up.
I love the Joker masks in the bank scene. I thought those were kind of cool.
It was kind of funny, how the whole plan played out in that.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, so the boss told you to kill me, too. He goes, no, I'm supposed to kill the bus driver. What bus driver? And then the school bus comes backing into the other thing, and he's like, and the bus driver's like, hey, where'd all the other guys go? Boom.